Today we have a very special guest joining us today. He's the former Ancient Aliens TV host for Tucson, Arizona, as well as the leading UFO investigator in Phoenix, Arizona. He runs a Facebook Live show called Petroglyphs in the Sky. I would call him the king of the petroglyphs and one of the best UFO hunters in the United States. Give a nice insertion welcome, Jeff Woolwine.
Petroglyphs in the sky. Watch from UFOs fly by. We in the Southwest Arizona. UFOs are among us. Hello. Welcome back to the Petroglyphs in the Sky Ultimate UFO Show. I am your host, Jeff Woolwine. How is everybody doing tonight? Glad that you're here with us tonight because we're gonna talk about some petroglyphs as normal. Show some petroglyphs, and we're gonna talk about a little bit of their meaning. We're going to show a video that I filmed that was like the kind of the holy grail of everything, petroglyphs in the sky. The first video that one of the first videos that I actually matched these UFO sightings over Phoenix, Arizona to the petroglyphs, the rock art carved on the mountains in Phoenix, Arizona. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to show a video of that, and we're going to show some petroglyphs there. Also, Jody Gordon, we've featured some of her videos in the past. She lives out there in Mayer, Arizona, and she captured something today that was quite incredible, and we're going to show her video tonight. And so thank you guys for joining us. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. To Petroglyphs in the Sky. Find me on my new YouTube channel, the Phoenix Lights Petroglyphs in the Sky. Make sure that you subscribe to that, ring that bell so you know when new videos are coming up. Also, share this video. Let's get this information out there. There's too much, nonsense here on the web on what UFOs really are, from people who haven't done the investigations like I have, and who has never been, featured on some of these cable shows, presenting their evidence. And, I can prove everything that I've said. Now, a lot of these sky watchers out there can't. It's all been hearsay. Oh, we think a craft went over Phoenix March 13th, 1997. But no evidence is to suggest this. So there's a lot of hearsay in this UFO investigations. And so let's get the real information out there. Let's get the truth on what the Phoenix Lights really is. Let's get the information out there on what these UFOs that we see in the sky really is. Let's look at the credible evidence, not hearsay evidence. Oh, we think spaceships, we think little gray guys, but no evidence has suggested the credibility on those types of claims. But what we can verify is what the Native Americans have carved on the rocks over 1,000 years ago, their UFO sightings, and also what has been written down for the past 3,000 to 7,000 years old, manuscripts. Come on. They talk about these things, dude. Do they say they're spaceships? No, man. Do they say little green guys running around? No, man. They're calling these things like angels. They're calling these things like spirits, right? Shapeshifters, right? Living beings, dude. Living creatures. That's exactly what I have discovered and have proven, and was the first one to bring this information to the UFO community. So make sure you like, comment, share, and let's get this information out to the public. Okay, so I do have a book out on the Phoenix Lights and the true history of Phoenix, Arizona. The Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, Landscape for the Spirits. True stories, myths, legends, and UFOs over Phoenix. And this actually talks about what the real history of Phoenix, Arizona is. Not from the archaeologist who's blowing smoke up people's asses. All right, this is from someone who has actually been out on the field, has investigated not only the petroglyphs out there, who has called down a shaman who works at a facility in downtown Phoenix, the Pueblo Indian Art Museum. Okay, like a medicine man, if you will. I had this guy teach me the petroglyphs on South Mountain in Phoenix. And, I did many years of research watching South Mountain, that holy mountain, and seeing these things, these UFOs coming and going from the mountains of Phoenix, Arizona, filming them in the sky. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, not like some of these other sky watchers out there that are from a different, a different state or whatever, coming in and trying to say, stuff that they can't back up. No, man, I'm a native here. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been seeing these UFO Phoenix lights and these day orbs ever since I was a kid going to grade school, dude. So I am familiar with these UFOs all my life. Okay, so that's another thing that's going on here. Also, not only did I hike the mountains for many years, for like 15 to 17 years, investigating the petroglyphs and bringing this information to you. If you can't get to the mountain on your own, if you can't check out the petroglyphs on your own, then I do it with this book. I bring this information down from the mountain. I bring the information, these sacred scrolls, if you will, these sacred drawings, these sacred UFO sightings down from the mountain, photograph them, and bring them to the book here and provide photographic evidence of what is really going on here in Phoenix, Arizona, in Arizona, period. And quite possibly in your neck of the woods also. Not only did I do that, I went to the source of it all. I went to the downtown Phoenix library, okay? And I went into the archives of Phoenix, Arizona. I looked up the folders, these old folders that hasn't been seen in 80 years. Okay, and then I found the first park ranger, Charles Holberg, and he confirms everything that I was doing out there on the mountain. So not only do I have the petroglyphs backing me up, I have history backing me up, I have the first park ranger from the 1930s backing me up, I have these UFOs in the sky backing me up. Okay, I have so much evidence that I have gathered, all right, on my so-called claims, right? I bring this information to you. I'm not making any money off this. These people out there, a spacecraft went over the city of Phoenix, March 13th, 1997. Man, they're selling books, right? They're selling movie tickets, right? They're exploiting the lights. And here, and they haven't done that. I keep trying to get that lady to get up there on South Mountain. Let me show you the petroglyphs. Let me show you the altars. Let me show you the tombs that's up there. All of this has been verified. All right. All of this is credible stuff, man. Oh, no, this lady doesn't want to go up there. Because it's going to hurt her platform stage, right? From selling books about nothing, on the Phoenix Lights, from selling, movie tickets about nothing. Okay, she hasn't done her research. Okay, I have. I've done all of this. I have proven. I can back up everything I say. She can't. Okay, and so she's out there making money. She's exploiting the Phoenix Lights. But yet this book here, I'm not making a dime off of this. I told the publishers to give my money to the foster kids here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm not making one dime off this book. I haven't made any money off the cable shows, off the news reports, the radio shows I've done, all this history I've done for the last almost 20 years now. I'm not making any money. The money I do get, I give to the homeless people. So let's start getting the information out there. And this book actually talks about the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona. It talks about how the Mayans were here, along with the Hohokams, the Hohokam Indians, the first Native Americans who first settled in Phoenix, Arizona. It talks about the tombs out there. Oh yeah, there are Mayan and Hohokam tombs buried on South Mountain. You can see all that information, not only on my website down below. That's my website down there. Okay, check that out. You can find out who the first park ranger is. You can see one of the tombs that I've discovered out there that the first park ranger actually verifies. 1933, dude. The 1930s, man. That's when he was out there protecting these tombs. And when he passed away in the late 1940s, all his information was buried in the Phoenix Library downtown for 80 years. The archaeologist doesn't talk about this. He wants you to stay on the trails. He doesn't want you to go off the trails, because when you go off the trails, that's where the truth is. That's where all the history is. That's what I did. I went off the trails to find out what's really going on here in Phoenix, Arizona, what the Phoenix Lights really is. And I tell you what, I was going down this one road because everybody was telling me this is what was going on this road here. But all the facts, all the proven evidence, all the history was taking me down another road. And I'm sorry, I cannot go down that road with hearsay. I have to go with the evidence lies. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. That's what I've been doing for the last 17 to 20 years. I don't know how long I've been doing this. I've been doing this a very long time. I have not once changed my story, dude. Going into this, I'm thinking spaceships, little green guys from Alpha Centauri, and going down this other road where the evidence lies. I'm telling you, look, dude, I don't believe these things are spaceships at all. There's no evidence of spaceships. There's not one credible evidence of crafts. Okay, people see a light out there, they think it's a spaceship, right? Because, unfortunately, they haven't studied it. They really don't understand yet. They're going off Hollywood movies. They're going off, like Len Kitai's book. A spaceship, a craft. Man, come on, dude. Let's do your homework. Let's investigate the mountains. What does the first Native Americans who first settled on this land say about these Phoenix Lights? Do they say spaceships and little green men from Mars? No, they're talking spirits. They're talking shape-shifting entities. They're talking another life form. That's exactly what's here. What does Mexico say about these entities? They're calling these entities Quetzalcoatl, the flying serpent. I can tell you, man, I have filmed Quetzalcoatl in the skies of Phoenix, Arizona many times. He is alive and well, flying around Phoenix, Arizona, coming and going from these mountains, and that's the key. It's the key. From these mountains, these energy mountains, what makes South Mountain, formerly known to the Indians as Mount Zapoa, Mountain of Mercy, what makes this mountain so special is the fault line underneath, is the energy that it generates. There's a power plant on the east side of South Mountain on Ray Road. Those of you who are natives, those of you who live in Phoenix, Arizona, you can look at this power plant. It's on Ray Road on the east side of South Mountain. It is borrowed down into that fault line, turning on our lights. When that power plant is activated, especially in the summer, it attracts these Phoenix Lights. In 2004, I have many, many, many videos of these Phoenix Lights, these UFO creatures hovering over that power plant. Look at the evidence I've discovered here. Look at the many years of UFO sightings I have done over the last 20 years or so. Okay, it all boils down to the energy on this mountain. These creatures, these UFO entities, these beings are attracted to this mountain because of the energy, because of the fault line. This is the reason why sometimes we see UFOs coming and going from volcanoes. They're absorbing the energy, brother. That's exactly why they're attracted to that area, is because of the energy. Okay, so more and more, I talk about this throughout some of my past shows. You can check it out. But tonight, we're going to talk about some of these other petroglyphs that are carved. I'm not really too sure where these petroglyphs were filmed at, was photographed at, but they were so significant that I thought that I would talk about it in tonight's show. So go out there and check out my book, and you can get my book on, mostly like eBay, dude. You can get it on the ebooks for like $10. I mean, it's really cheap, dude. And it's the Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, Landscape for the Spirit. So run out there, get yourself a copy while copies are available, because they're gonna go quick, and I'm not too sure how long they will be available. Okay, let's get this show on the road here. So let's look at these petroglyphs here. Now, I'm not really sure where these glyphs has been taken at. Here we have, an old man and a lady up there photographing these petroglyphs. But something that caught my eye mostly was look right above this guy's head. Let's look at this petroglyph, the crooked lines there. Okay, you see that? Let's examine this a little bit further here. So right above this guy's head, okay, so we have a man, a regular man. We know he's a regular man. On the right here, because he doesn't have a tail, he doesn't have an orb in his belly, and that orb in the belly is the UFO entity and the shape-shifting. They change shape. They like to change shape. You're going to see this video here in a minute, changing shape. But right to the left of him, okay, now you see the blocks? You see those blocks there, okay? Now, that is actually, to us, a UFO, okay? And let's get this video out here. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So this video here I filmed in March 9th of 2005. Okay, and so I'm gonna show you as soon as we get into it. I'm gonna show you, but look how it's changing shape there. Look at that. Look how it's changing shape. You see that? So what we're talking about here is the guy and the crooked L shapes, if you will, formations there. Now, at the beginning of this video, you're going to see what I'm talking about here. So this creature is going right past my window here. You can see how it's like it's holding its shape there. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Look at that thing. Now it kind of looks like a hammer. But what we're looking at over here on the petroglyphs are these UFO sightings. Now, the zigzag formation up top, excuse me, the zigzag, excuse me. So the zigzag up on top that we see are mountains. When you look at these petroglyphs, you're supposed to look at the whole landscape, not just the petroglyphs in itself, but actually the whole landscape. And because the artist is talking about the landscape, he's putting the landscape in with the art. Now watch this video here. You see this aircraft, this airplane there goes right by that creature. Is this a spaceship? No, this is a living being. This is a living creature. Okay, what we are dealing with here, these things are alive. All right, these are not spaceships. Okay, crafts might be out there somewhere. Why not? Okay, I'm open to it. But I have not once, doing all my 20 years of research, found any credible evidence of crafts. Okay, I find people talking about hearsay, but hearsay is not credible. Okay, what is credible, look at that, is what we can verify on the rock drawings. Okay, that's the show that I was doing in Tucson. So, okay. That's a cable show. That's Jim Rogers there and the co-host. Okay, so here we go again. Here we go. Look at the petroglyphs there. Okay, and we have two Indians there, two men on the bottom there, looking up at these crooked formation shapes there, just like what we see above this old man's head. Okay, now look, this creature left the mountain. Now look at that. Do you see what I'm talking about here? This is why I call it petroglyphs in the sky, because this is what we're dealing with here. So these petroglyphs to the left of the stick figure man above the old man's head, okay, is depicting what we are seeing in the sky right now in that video. Okay, now it's shape-shifting into a dot, okay, into like this orb. Look how it's changing shape there. Okay, let's see if we can find a petroglyph that is depicting that. Okay, so yeah, some of these squares there is talking about these creatures that we're seeing. Look at it. It's kind of square there. Look how it's changing shape. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. So this guy, this stick figure man, okay, to the left of him, and these crooked looking lines here, these box looking lines, it is talking about what we just saw in the sky on that video. Okay. So this is how we can distinguish what these petroglyphs are talking about. Okay, so we've already seen the sighting. So let's move on. So right above here, you see this huge, all these zigzagging lines. Look at that, zigzagging lines. Like I said before, when we're looking at the petroglyphs, you have to examine the whole landscape. So these crooked lines, a lot of people would think, oh, that's energy. That's energy. Well, that's a good guess. Okay. But actually what these crooked lines are mountain peaks. That is the landscape that is behind this petroglyph panel. Okay, now look what's going on here. Okay, so the canyons are the doorways. Okay, so let's look right here, like kind of in the middle there. We have these orbs, and they're in the canyons. See the V shape there, the V-shaped canyon. Okay, and we have these orbs. We have these orbs that we're seeing in the sky coming out of that canyon there. Okay, it's coming out of the mountain. Okay, now it looks like it's picking up some deer, doesn't it? And it has. And these petroglyphs do depict them picking up animals, goats, things like that. Actually, it depicts also picking up humans. Okay, these creatures, these things in the sky, have picked up people and carried them off into the sky. And a lot of petroglyphs located on South Mountain depict a type of game, a game that these Native Americans used to play with these creatures in the sky. So let's move on. Okay, so we have more crooked snakes. That's what I call them, crooked snakes that we just witnessed in that video. We have the crooked lines there. Okay, we know what those are talking about now. Okay, and then we have these circle or these square-looking formations. Those are the UFOs that we see in the skies today. Look at that. Do you see the resemblance here? These triangles, or not triangles, but these box-looking things are the UFOs that we're seeing in the skies today. Now over here, they with these long necks there, that kind of reminds me of dinosaurs. So who knows exactly what that is. But these things like to take the shape of animals. They like to take the shape of people. This is when the lizard people come into play. A lot of Native Americans talk about the lizard people, things like that, because they're shape-shifting. They're shape-shifting into the likeness of people, or into the likeness of serpents, or up to the likeness of birds. Okay, things like that. Okay, so the archaeologist likes to call these petroglyphs, these shape-shifting petroglyphs, anthropomorphs, because they're shape-shifting. You see what I'm talking about? So look at this here. Okay, so we know the box The box is the UFO entity that we have seen in the skies. I have filmed this many times of these boxes, whatever, or some people like to call them tic-tac UFOs, okay, flying across the sky, right? Okay, now look, right under him, we have, it looks like we have a box or a tic-tac, if you would like to call it a tic-tac. We have a tic-tac, and what is he doing? He is morphing. He is anthropomorphing into a deer. Look at that. He's growing legs and arms, and he's got a head. Okay, you're not going to tell me a regular animal has a body like that, right? Okay, no, man. It is a anthropomorph. So this tic-tac UFO creature in the sky is morphing to look like a deer, to look like, to mimic, if you will, what it's seen on the ground. Okay, that's exactly what these creatures are doing. You understand? So this is how we can understand these petroglyphs here. All right, it's not some Indian on peyote, not some Indian, high on drugs. No, he is telling us what he is witnessing in the sky. This is important stuff, dude. Look at that tic-tac there with all the dots. You see that? Could that be the energy? The energy that it's absorbing? Could be. I believe it is. Those dots you see in this quote-unquote tic-tac box-looking thing is the energy that it's absorbing. Here we go to the left of this tic-tac deer. Okay, we have another box there. Look at that energy there. So they're absorbing, these creatures are absorbing the energy from these mountain peaks that we're looking at here, these petroglyph peaks here. And see how there's some below. Okay, so these creatures, this guy here, it is under. The Native Americans, they're trying to tell us that the triangle peaks here, the mountain peaks, the zigzag formations, okay, that is the mountain. And then below the mountain is the underworld. This is where these spirits are coming and going from, to the underworld. All right, so the Native Americans say that these spirals are doorways for these UFOs, for these spirits, for these entities to come and go into the underworld. But on a scientific level, when we look at it scientifically, okay, they're actually going into the bottom of the mountains there, into the fault lines, into the energy lines. They're absorbing the energy. This is the reason why we see them when they're glowing like lights. They're like glycerine. They're lights in the sky. Man, they're absorbing that energy. Okay, so not only do we have energy below these mountains here, we also have energy in the sky. Okay, so these spirals, when a spiral ends downward, okay, it's talking about either the crack or crevice that the spiral is carved on, the boulder, that crack, or the ground there. If the spiral ends up, then there's a vortex, there's a doorway in the sky. That's when these things just magically appear in the sky. Okay, they're absorbing the energy. And when they're absorbing the energy, they're lighting up, dude. They are lighting up like they're lights, okay? Because they're sucking up that energy, right? Just like the firefly, okay, the lightning bug, right? Okay, they light up, okay? So that's them. That's how they were created. Okay, same with these lights in the sky. Not only are they absorbing the energy, which making them light up, but it's part of them, dude. They're like a lightning bug. It's just them. They're one step higher than man. They're a living creature. They're a living animal, if you will. It's a living creature. Okay, and I'm going to give you another secret. A lot of you who have been following me all these years, already know this secret. But to those of you who hasn't, I'm going to tell you another secret here. Okay, that no one else has figured out yet for some reason. Okay, they're not from another planet. They're not from Alpha Centauri. They're not from Mars. They're not from Venus. Okay, this is their planet also. This is their home. They have always been here since the beginning of time. They've probably been here before man has. Okay, these are living creatures. living animals that are one step higher than man. Okay, and a lot of people don't understand this yet. They haven't came to this conclusion yet. Okay, but I'm here to tell you, dude, with all the information, all the information and study I've done and out there doing the field work on South Mountain and the mountains around Phoenix, Arizona, watching these things personally, seeing them up close, okay, and understanding what the Native Americans say about these things, understanding what the petroglyphs are talking about these things. Man, they're not talking about spaceships from another world. They're talking about these creatures that live here. They've always been among us. They've always been here. The Native Americans have always told us this. Okay, they go up there and they talk to the spirits on the mountain. They're talking about these Phoenix lights. They're talking about these orbs that you and I are seeing in the skies today. They're talking about these lights that we're seeing in the skies today. This is nothing new to the world, to Earth. You ask Earth about these things? Oh, yeah, dude, these lights in the sky? Oh, my God, dude. Earth is going to tell you they live here, too. That's them, dude. There's nothing new, nothing special about that light. It's just an animal, dude, okay? And he's absorbing my energy. You know, all these earthquakes and stuff I'm doing, they love it. They love that earthquake. They want those energies, dude, right? That's nothing new. The Earth is going to tell you that. Our world will tell you that these lights and these things in the sky, these flying serpents, all these crazy shit that we're seeing in the sky, isn't from another world. It's their planet too, brother. They live here among us, man. They've always been here. Look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this here. See the mountain peaks here? The old man is right in front. Oh, I see a spiral. Woo! Spiral time. Let's zoom in on the spiral here. Let's check this out. Okay, we see this spiral. Now look, it's right under that peak there. So the interpretation of this petroglyph here is the energy. The doorway is under this peak of a mountain. It's too bad we can't see, behind this photograph and see the mountain peaks in the background, because I could point out and say, yep, that peak right there, that mountain pyramid peak is a doorway, dude, because it's telling us. Look at the spiral right there, right? The spirals are the doorways. If a spiral is going clockwise, it's a doorway in. If a spiral is going counterclockwise, it's a doorway out. Sometimes I've seen these spirals, they go both ways, dude. A doorway in and a doorway out. It's really crazy. Like when I was watching South Mountain, in 2005, 6, 7, I would see this creature come down out of the sky and absorb himself. They go right into the mountain. I understand why the Native Americans call these things spirits, because when they come down, they're solid. They're fully solid. They're changing shape. They're changing colors. But as soon as they get close to that mountain, they start to change, man. You can see through them, dude. And all of a sudden, boom, they just absorb themselves into the rock. Okay, they're going into that doorway. And then like 15, 20 minutes later, another one will leave from another place, from a doorway out, right? It's crazy. I've filmed that many, many times. And that's exactly what these petroglyphs are depicting. So the mountain peaks are these zigzags are the mountain peaks. It's telling us that this right here is a major doorway, right? And then if we really look, let's zoom in more on this spiral here. Now we see a guy. Look at that. See a guy, he's entering the doorway. He's entering the spiral. Look at that. Then we have another creature here in the valley. Because these valleys, these canyons are the emergence points for these creatures. Okay, and the handprints. See the handprints? Now those are depicting the spirits coming out of the stone. That's what those handprints are representing. It's coming out of the stone. It's coming out of the mountain. It's coming out of the rock. That's what those handprints are for. That's what it means. Here we have more. Look at that. More mountain peaks. And we have things in the sky. We have the crooked snake that we just saw on my video there. Okay, and then look at the bottom here. We have this round-looking mountain. Look at that round boulder, right? And look at all the spirits, all the things inside of this mountain boulder, of this huge mountain this round thing that we're looking at right here. Right there in the middle of your screen there. We have a huge circular pattern there, half circle, which represents a hill or a huge mountain. And then things, creatures inside the rock, inside the mountain, inside this massive boulder. Okay? They're telling us not only what to look for, but where these things are. So let's see if we can. Okay. Let's look at another petroglyph here. Here we have two orbs, and it's interesting too because a lot of times when we see these lights in the sky, those of you who have actually seen the Phoenix lights or seen these lights, firsthand in your state, when you videotape them, or even like sometimes during the day, it's like sometimes during the day you can see these orbs with a dot in the middle. Look at some of my UFO videos of the lights that I filmed in 2004. You can really see that dot in the middle. So here we have a depiction. We have a prehistoric photograph of what was seen in this area. What was seen in the sky. This is the reason why we find petroglyphs in some areas, and in other places we find no petroglyphs. It's because nothing happened over there. What we're looking at is a prehistoric photograph of the event that took place in that area. This is the reason why you're not supposed to move the petroglyphs, because the petroglyphs is telling us what occurred right there where we're standing at, right there where we're looking at this petroglyph art at. So right here is where the UFO sighting took place at. I'm not sure where that petroglyph is, but it does look like it was filmed on South Mountain. There's a lot. I mean, it's so crazy, dude. I've seen petroglyphs like from all over the world, right? People send me photographs of the petroglyphs, and it's so kind of eerie, creepy that it even looks like the same artist. The same artist did all the rock art. It's the same story. Okay, it's the same damn story. It might be told a different, just a little bit different, in each culture, in each country, things like that. But it's the same story of these creatures coming down from the sky, up from the ground, and teaching these people the secret knowledge, the secret ways of the universe, of the world. They taught these people how to survive. All of that is in my book. And we won't go into it right now. But that's basically what is going on here. So these things right now are watchers. They're watchers in the sky. They've been watching us for thousands of years, man. And they're waiting. When you look at the history of these creatures, the history of these entities, the history of these so-called UFOs that we see in the sky, when we examine the history, it turns out, because look at what the Hopis say. The Hopis say that we are in the fourth world and we're about ready into the fifth, right? And each time the world changes, these creatures, these lights in the sky, these orbs, these Quetzalcoatl, these flying serpents, these flying diamonds, these crooked snakes have always been there to help and to guide mankind on how to live, how to survive when the world changes, okay? And unfortunately, every time this happens, look at the history. I mean, the Hohokams, the first Native Americans of Phoenix, Arizona, lived in Phoenix, Arizona, lived in that Valley of the Sun for 1,000 years. They were masters of the canal systems, okay? And they worship these things, these Phoenix lights, as gods. There's sacrificing altars there that I've discovered. That the first park ranger Charles Holbert talks about these altars, right? And he talks about the tombs full of gold on South Mountain, right? I show photographs. I've been there. I've located some of these tombs, and So so they were there for 1,000 years. Now let's look at what the Hohokam name is. What does Hohokam mean? Hohokam is a Pima name the Pima name because the Pimas considered themselves ancestors to the Hohokam along with the To'odom tribe. Okay, and Hohokam means the people who are gone, the people who are missing, the people who got taken away, right? Because they were there for 1,000 years. They were masters of the canal system. They were masters of the land there. They owned Phoenix, Arizona. That was their land. And then all of a sudden they disappeared. They're gone. No trace of them or where they went. The archaeologist wants us to believe, well, they simply migrated somewhere else because of drought. Okay, if that's the case, where the hell did they go? There's not one single evidence, trace, anything leading from Phoenix, Arizona to another part of the world because of drought. That's bullshit, all right? What does the petroglyphs say? The petroglyphs say that these phoenix lights, these creatures in the sky, came down and took these people up into the sky, never to return. Charles Holbrook talks about this. Who does Charles Holbrook learn this from? The first Native Americans who were living on the land in the 1930s and that trusted Charles and told Charles about the tombs, about the gold, about who the Hohokam was, what these lights in the skies really are. Okay, they told Charles this. He wrote it down in his documents. Okay, and Charles Holbrook isn't some no-name guy. Charles Holbrook was a big guy, okay, in all of the west coast of the United States. I found evidence of records of him in like Colorado. He's big in Colorado, in California. Okay, so it wasn't just Phoenix, Arizona. This guy was huge, dude. All right, he was a well-known park official. Okay, so he knew what he was talking about. So if this guy is talking about, the gold on South Mountain and the sacrificing altars on South Mountain and the Hohokams being taken away, all of this is in his journals and his writings. Check it out. Go read it. It's on my website down below. All right, read what Charles Holbrook says and what happened to the Hohokam. Okay, it says that these things came down out of the sky and took the people away. Why? Why did that happen? Because for some reason, reasons unknown, the sacrificing the blood of man stopped being poured down the sacred rock, the sacred mountain, and that's when it upset these spirits, these sun gods, if you will, and they came down out of the heavens and took these people away, never to return. There were survivors to this so-called Holocaust, if you will. There were survivors to this. They hid in caves. They were watching what was going on. And after it was all over, they knew that if they were going to continue to live in Phoenix, Arizona, in that Valley of the Sun, that eventually they would have to go back to war with these spirits of the earth and sky. And so they buried the gold. And Charles Holbrook writes that the gold was as tall as the highest saguaro cactus and as big and round as the sun, and they buried that gold on certain tombs around Phoenix, Arizona, especially on that holy mountain, South Mountain, Mount Sepoa, Mountain of Mercy, and they vowed never to come back into this Valley of the Sun. They cursed this land. They went back to Mexico. And for 400 years, nobody lived in Phoenix, Arizona. Nobody lived in this Valley of the Sun. This is why when we first came back, there's still pottery there. There's still, hogans there. Everything was left in place, dude, for 400 years. Until Jack Swelling came up over the White Tank Mountains in the west, and he looked down and he said, dude, look at the farmland here. Look what we can do. This is like in the early 1900s. And it started over again. First, it was a city named Mesa. From there, they named it Phoenix. And what is Phoenix? What is Phoenix? Is the mythical fiery bird that rises up from the ashes of the formal civilization. And this is what we're talking about today. We are talking about the formal civilization who left us clues, left us their stories of what happened to them for 1,000 years. On the rocks. These are photographs of what happened to these people. They saw the Phoenix lights. All right. They saw these things in the sky. They worship these things as gods. Oh my God. It even goes even deeper, dude. There were giants here. There were giants walking around. I found evidence of the giants here, and I found evidence of the petroglyphs depicting the giants. It's all in my book. Check out the website down below. All right? That's what's going on here. But the archaeologist does not want to talk about this. After Charles Holbrook died, all his information, all his writings, everything he accomplished was tucked away, buried in the Phoenix Library in a folder for the last 80 years until I came around in 2000, what was it, 2007, if you will, maybe. And I opened up that folder and bam, dude, everything that I was discovering out there, the tombs, the altars, the Phoenix lights, these creatures, the lizard people coming up out of the sand world, the doorways, all this stuff was written first by the first park ranger of South Mountain who learned this information from the Indians, from the horse's mouth, who lived there at the time when Holbrook was living there. And these stories has been told from generation to generation to generation to generation. That's why we know about these creatures, at least the Indians do. All right? And they're telling you, they've always told us about these creatures. They've always told us about these things in the sky. But the white man just blows it off and thinks, oh, it's some Indian high on peyote or something. He's out there doing graffiti. That orb, that's not really a UFO. That's not really a living creature. All these lizards, so-called lizard men coming out of these doorways and these flying serpents, that's just, that's mythology, dude. These are, what we're actually looking at are celestial planets, the celestial stars in the sky. Bullshit, dude. It's talking about these creatures. It's talking about these UFOs that we see in the skies today. This is the truth. This is what's going on here. Look at this. I love it. Oh my, is that telling us what's going on here? Is this guy looking up at an orb in the sky? Oh my God. Come on now. It's carved there. How long has this thing been here? Been sitting there for us to understand? And it's our generation. It's our generation that these petroglyphs are meant for. We are meant to understand. These petroglyphs are meant for us. They're telling us what is going on, what had happened in history, in the past. Because history sometimes repeats itself, right? So if the Hohokam Indians saw the Phoenix lights, if the Hohokam Indians saw these creatures in the sky, and then all of a sudden they disappeared from history, what does that say about our future, right? Because we're seeing these things in the sky, obviously. We've been watching these things ever since especially during World War II. They're chasing around these lights, the Foo Fighters, right? Remember that, right? Come on, dude. They're waiting. They're waiting for us to need them again. They're watchers. The Indians are telling us they have marked records on the rocks there. That's right. This guy's looking up at a UFO, dude. What more do you need to say? They didn't have video cameras back then. They didn't have photographs, cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record their sightings. And that's exactly what we're looking at right there. We got a guy looking up at an orb. How many times have me and you filmed these things in the sky? Filmed these orbs in the sky? But yet we have this photograph here. We have this carving here that's been sitting there for at least 1,000 years. Give or take 1,200. Some archaeologists will argue 1,700 years. Some people even go back, way back, like 2,500 years. And some of these carvings has been recarved through generations to keep the story alive. But yet it sits for us today. And what are we looking at here? We are looking at a guy looking up at a UFO, looking up at an orb in the sky, just like what we see in the skies today. Make sure you like, comment, and share. Subscribe. Find me on YouTube. The Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky. Let's get this information out there. Let's look at what we can prove. Okay, let's let's not look at hearsay anymore. That's been going on for years. Or people filming airplanes, blinking airplanes, trying to say there's spaceships and their crafts and bullshit. Let's look at the history here. Let's examine the history. Let's get down to what the Indians say about these creatures. Let's get down to what the Indians say about these UFOs. Let's get down to what the Indians are saying about what me and you are seeing in the skies today. Okay? And do they talk about spaceships, green guys, opposites? No, man. Right? They are describing another life form, another living being who absorbs energy, who changes with the changing of the seasons. Okay, that's another thing. I mean, you can go back and you can read my book. You can go back and see some of my other shows. All right, but yeah, it's talking about the changing of the seasons. All right, and well, I won't get into it. But that's exactly what's going on. So we see UFOs over here on one part of the earth, and then the sun changes along with the seasons. And then so the UFOs, these creatures are following the energies. They're following the sun. They're tracking the sun to the next energy spot. So we see them in Arizona for a few months before the equinox, and after the equinox, they're over there in Florida, right? Okay, we don't see them over here in Arizona no more, right? Until after the equinox, after the solstice, things like that. Then they follow. So they're sky watchers. They're watching. They're following the sun. Okay, so go back, watch my other shows. I won't get into it. Like and subscribe. Now, let's take a look at what Jordy Gordon filmed in the skies today in Mayer, Arizona. I really like showing Jordy's UFOs because it's legit, man. That's what's going on here. Okay, so right now we're looking at a blank screen. I mean, it should play for us. I don't know what's going on here. So okay, here we go. All right, so let's take a look at what Jordy filmed. Look at this orb here. Look at this creature here. Okay, a lot of people would think, oh, that's a spaceship. No, this is a living creature. This is a living entity. Did we just see a depiction of a petroglyph of this creature? I believe so. Yeah, so that's the sun. Here it comes. Yeah, so the clouds. We showed Jody's UFO video. It was like a creature. It was a shape-shifting creature. Man, I love that video. I'm so glad she filmed it. Okay, here it goes. There you can see it cruising across the sky there. Look at that. Look at that. And there's just so many people, oh, it's a craft. Well, let's look at the possibilities on maybe it's not a craft here. Okay, let's look at the history. And that's what I'm talking about with my investigations here. Everything I've discovered out here. I was the first one to bring this to the attention of the UFO community, that these things are not spaceships. These things are live. These things are living creatures. Okay? Yeah, it's a bright sky there. I believe Jordy has a YouTube channel also. She has some UFO videos there. So here we go. Here we go. This is the beginning of it. Look at this creature here. Let's see if we can zoom in. Yeah. So way to go, Jody. We might come down there and see you real soon, and see if we can videotape some of the stuff that you're filming out there. And so way to go. Yeah, if you guys have a UFO video that you want me to air and talk about here on the show, send it to me. I'd love to take a look at it. Send me your petroglyph photographs or videos. Let's decipher them. Let's understand the true interpretations of them. And I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. All right, the Native Americans have been talking about these things. I'm repeating what history is saying about these creatures. All right, about these petroglyphs, about these orbs, these things we see in the sky here. Let's look at the history here. Okay, not somebody out there saying, "Oh, it's a spaceship," with no credibility whatsoever. Okay. Way to go, Jordy, and I really appreciate it. And, if you have anything else, please send it to me. You rock, and I'm pretty sure we might be coming to see you real soon and check out the skies above your place and see if we can, film any UFOs. Oh yeah, let's look at this here. I forgot about this glyph here. Here we go. See, we have barbells. There's a lot of barbells. This isn't South Mountain. I'm not sure where this is carved at. But we have many barbells. We have these black orbs that we see in the skies today. We see these orbs in the sky, right? And they have these lines to them, and they connect together. They're absorbing each other's energy. That's what that line is there for. Not only that, they use those lines to pick up people, to pick up animals and such, and things like that. Many petroglyphs depicting these lines, these orbs with these lines coming down, and that's what a lot of people mistake these creatures out because of wrong information. People see these creatures in the sky, and they see the line coming down from them, and they automatically assume that this is a balloon that they are looking at, and but it's not moving like a balloon, right? It's not moving like a balloon. And because of wrong information and people selling books and saying they got abducted and, all this bullshit out there, people are looking for spaceships. So when they actually see these creatures in the sky, they blow it off. They say it's a flare. They say it's a balloon. They say it's a piece of trash. All right, they don't understand what they're looking at because they have been misled. They have been misled for all these years, looking for spaceships and crafts and all these CGI videos out there of bullshit of spaceships and little green guys. Okay, but when a real UFO is in the sky, they blow it off because they have been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed into thinking that spaceships are here, that little green guys are here, and so when they see these orbs in the sky, they think they're balloons and they just blow it off. That's what pisses me off. And they're not looking at the history here. They're not examining the petroglyphs. They're not understanding. They're not understanding what's going on here. Because they are taking the advice from people who haven't done their history, who haven't done their homework, who's never been on a mountain before, who's never looked at a petroglyph for their own eyes before, who's never seen these creatures in the sky before. They're going off hearsay, dude. Oh, we think they're extraterrestrials. I'm going to tell you another secret, dude. I think I've already told you. It's not extraterrestrials. It's interterrestrials. These things live here too. It's funny that scientists and NASA and all these people have been looking for intelligent life on the outskirts of our solar system. They're looking, in other planets and this and that. When I think they should start looking in our own backyard. They should start looking at these mountains with these petroglyphs and spirals that are carved on it for these other life forms, because that's where the source is. Once you find these mountains with spirals and anthropomorphs and shapeshiftings and flying serpents and flying snakes, things like that, that's the source. That's where you want to watch for these creatures in the sky, because they're coming and going. They follow the sun. They follow the seasons. All right. I kind of briefly went into that earlier. More information is on some of my other shows and in my book and on my website. But yeah, that's the key. That's the secret. This has been going on for thousands of years. All right. When you see, for instance, like Stonehenge, right, and you see the morning equinox, okay, or the morning solstice, right, and it's going up between those two stones, right. And the archaeologist wants us to believe, well, it's a sign for the Indians to plant corn. Bullshit. Has nothing to do with planting corn. Okay, it has everything to do with these creatures in the sky. Okay, when to see them, when not to see them. Okay, this is why they're tracking the sun. The sun is very important. All right, for these creatures in the sky, to see them, to see these UFOs, these creatures in the sky when the sun gets in the right position of these energy markings, the doorways, the fault lines, natural energy sources. When the sun aligns with these fault lines on the ground, it opens up a type of doorway, and it causes a fusion effect. All right, and it attracts these creatures to these energy spots around the world. That is a big secret. And once you can understand this pattern, because it is a pattern, and I discovered this pattern, and it started in 2005. When I noticed that these creatures were coming and going from the mountain that first year, I documented them, the months, the times that they were here, the months and the times that they were gone. I tracked the sun, just like the Indians did, with the changing of the seasons, with the equinox and the solstice, and the autumn equinox and all this stuff. All right, and I understood when these creatures were going to be here. And then the next year, 2006, it repeated itself. They came on the same months again. They came right before the equinox, right after the equinox. They came, during the solstice and things like that. And then the following year, it repeated itself. It's a pattern. Once you figure out that pattern, then you'll be able to understand when to see these creatures. And the whole source of the matter are these mountains. Are these mountains with spirals on them, connected to the ley lines, connected to the energy lines. Okay, once you find the spirals, the mountains with the spirals on it, that's the source. You want to start watching that. And look for rock art. Look for rock art and Indian structures that are oriented towards the equinox, morning sunrise and the sunset and things like that. Okay, and they'll tell you they're carving what you're gonna see. For instance, in this area here of the mountain, you're gonna see flying serpents. Okay, in that area, about a mile away from this area, you're going to see flying orbs. They're carving orbs. They're carving orbs on that side of the mountain. They're carving flying serpents on this side of the mountain. They're carving flying diamonds on the other side of the mountain. They're carving crooked snakes on that side of the mountain. So different doors for different entities. That's going deep. That's deep, man. But that is what I discovered. That is what I verified. I proved that. I noticed that these canyons down the side of South Mountain. So I went and investigated. There's spirals going down that canyon. And up on top of that canyon is a guy looking up at a flying snake. Carving of a man looking up at a flying snake. And that whole canyon down the side of the mountain, the whole canyon is full of spirals. Here's another secret, an accident. I learned this from the archaeologist, reading his book. All right, yeah, I thoroughly investigated everything. I crossed my T's, I dotted my I's. I investigated the archaeologist. I investigated everybody, dude. And so this is the information that I came up with. And part of the interpretations of these petroglyphs is some of the petroglyphs on South Mountain, maybe in your neck of the woods, has the power to invoke the spirits, has the power to bring these creatures out. And that's exactly what I did on accident. I was up there on that canyon with the spirals and the guy looking up at a flying snake at the tip of the canyon, and I said, "It's been a while. Why don't you guys come and see us?" Well, 3 days later, boom, a flying serpent came up out of that canyon, went up into the sky, climbed about 1,000 feet in the sky, turned and came over my apartment complex. And you can see that video, the flying serpent. It made the news. I took that shit to the news, dude. All right, look at my YouTube videos. Look at what's on my wall. All right, look at my website down below. You can find that flying serpent. It came out of that canyon, up into the sky, turned, came right over my apartment complex. I'm out there videotaping, and I was just out there days before with the same depiction of a petroglyph flying serpent, a guy looking up at a flying serpent. That's when it dawned on me. Look, the landscape changes on South Mountain. Once you're out there and you're understanding the landscape, the landscape changes. And so does the story. Okay, so like before, so here we have a flying serpent here, carvings of flying snakes in doorways, and then a mile away we find flying diamonds. We see diamonds, okay? Guys looking up at diamonds, right? And then maybe a mile away or so, we see flying orbs, right? And that's when it kind of dawned on me, look, it's the same type of creature, but different, I guess, maybe races? I don't know what to call it. It's the same creatures, same type of entities, but they're different. We have diamonds, we have snakes, we have lights, we have orbs, we have crooked snakes, we have, these tic-tac UFOs, right? We have these different creatures here. Many different life forms, dude. Many different creatures. And when you see them going across the sky, I noticed that when they left South Mountain, they went over the Valley of the Sun into another mountain. So when you see them cruising across the sky, like we just saw Jordy Gordon's video, that creature, that UFO, that Tic Tac, that entity is on a mission. Where is he going? He is heading to the next energy spot, probably a mountain. And if we go out there and investigate Jordy, and we investigate what she's videotaping out there, we're going to be looking for the mountains, okay? And hopefully there's a mountain close. I'm going to find out where that creature was heading, what direction it was going. And when I do, I'm going to look in that direction, and I bet you I'm going to see mountains. I see mountains out there. Hopefully they won't be too far away. We can go out there and we can investigate the petroglyphs and see if there's any petroglyphs out there. And if this happens, yes, I will post it on the show. But that is what I'm thinking. So when you see them cruising across the sky, they're cruising. They're going for the next energy spot. They're on a mission. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is my wife and I, Pam, we went out to this mountain, and it's one of my favorite mountains. It's a mountain out there in Tucson, and it's right there. It's a famous mountain. You see this mountain in all these old westerns like Gunsmoke and the Three Amigos. You see this mountain out there. So I've always wanted to check out the mountain, because I always see it on the TV show. And, I love mountains. I love the landscape. I love the mountains. So I see this mountain on all these Gunsmoke shows and all these other movies. I see that mountain. So we went and checked out the mountain. And, I wasn't really expecting any, Indian evidence to be there. I was kind of hoping we could find some petroglyphs there. There probably is. I just need to do more hiking around that mountain, more investigations. But we did find evidence from the holocoms that they were there at that mountain. I hope you like this video, and we'll see you on the other side. So this is the famous Old Tucson Mountain. This mountain is pretty famous. It's been in a lot of movies. It's been in some John Wayne movies. It's been in the Three Amigos that was filmed in Old Tucson. You can see this mountain in the background. Gunsmoke. A lot of movies with this mountain has been in the background of it. So we are here today. Old Tucson is down that way. Can't get to it because they blocked it all off. Old Tucson is shut down, but this is the famous mountain that you see in all the old westerns that was filmed out here in Tucson. So I'm thinking this is one of the spots where they did like this stage robbery and Gunsmoke. I remember this spot being filmed many years ago. Because there's the mountain. And I think, and then you can see there's a trail. And it's like a stagecoach trail. So, I think this cactus here, that looks familiar, so it's hard to say with the millions of cactuses out here, but that does strike my interest a bit in some of the Gunsmoke shows I've seen. And in this area here, I mean, it was filmed, what, 60 years ago, 70 years ago? So a lot of stuff has changed, but a lot of stuff has stayed the same, especially, for these cactuses. And I think that's one of them right there. And I think they filmed some of the, or at least one episode, like right here. So these cactuses here, that's been here for about 60 years, give or take 40 or 50, 40 or 60 years. These cactuses have been here. So, and then that one's just starting. Look at that one there. So the cactuses don't start to get their arms until they're about 60 years old. That's when they start growing their arms. It is a part of movie history. And it's really kind of cool, being on the grounds on where they found many Old West movies and being in front of this legend of a mountain. It is really cool being out here, just walking around, enjoying the landscape. And old Tucson is just right over there in that area. I'm kind of walking on this trail here. Here's some quail. Yep, many shows have been filmed out here. Many gunfights and Old West shows and these mountains up here, they've been filmed too a lot in the backgrounds of movies. This mountain here, let's see if I can get up on the top of this hill. But these mountains here, they're pretty famous also. And then you can, that's old Tucson studio down there. You can barely see it. But that's the filming location of a lot of Old West movies. There's the famous mountain. So yeah, it's really cool walking around in Old West movie legend history. This is where it was filmed at, folks. Besides old Tucson. I'm not sure if we'll be able to make it down there. But, ooh, you can see it. There we go. Yeah, we're kind of close, so I don't know. I don't know if we'll make it or not. We'll see. This is on the other side of the mountain. We were over there. Old Tucson is over in that direction. Well, I saw these rocks, these boulders, so we decided to stop. That mountain's been filmed before in some Hollywood movies. Along with these other mountains out here in the background. So we're heading to those boulders right there. So just to check it out. Well, there is pottery shards out here. So there was Indians out here on this mountain at one time, because we find the evidence of the pottery shards right here at the mountain, at the base of the mountain, where so many films have taken place at. Old Tucson is down that way, the movie studio, and here we find a pottery shard. So yeah, I didn't find any petroglyphs. That is not to say that there isn't any out here, but I haven't seen any petroglyphs. But we did find the evidence of a prehistoric civilization out here. So yeah, that's a pretty incredible find out here at the base of Old Tucson Studios, home where Gunsmoke was filmed at, Three Amigos, a lot of other movies such as John Wayne was filmed out here in this area at Old Tucson, and all these mountains in the background. It's pretty amazing. And here we find real Indian pottery shards left by the Indians. Spectacular. That was really fun. I really enjoyed walking around that mountain and exploring, the Hollywood history of it all. And that pottery shard was actually found at those rock formations that I went to go check out, and that's where I found the pottery shard. I decided to take it down on the trail to get a better video of it. And so yeah, that's really old. That pottery shard was really old. I estimate it to be anywhere from 900 to 1,000 years old, because it's not the red on buff that we normally see, which dates anywhere from 500 to 600 years old. This was more sand. It was more sand, and that places it around about 1,000 years old. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching, and send me your UFO videos. Send me your petroglyph photographs and videos, and contact me on Facebook, and let me know what you think. And thanks again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and pick up my book, Petroglyphs in the Sky: True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix. Find that on eBay and other internet providers. Okay, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
We in the Southwest Arizona, UFOs are among us. It's in the sky, watching UFOs.com. We in the Southwest Arizona, it's a northern desert, UFOs are among us.
until the next exciting episode, keep your eyes in the skies. You never know what you might see.